Oh wait, shoot. Hello. Hey, I forgot. Wait.
Where's the
Angie, I
intro?
forgot my intro. I know.
Where's the intro? Everyone wants the intro.
That's hilarious. Wait, I totally forgot. Everybody here. Hold on. Wait. Okay, well, there it is. There it is. I totally forgot that we had that. Yes, hello. And welcome
That's
to
so funny.
What had happened was. I was feeling that. I'm Karyn Bryant, KB, here with you.
Yeah,
How
I
you
was in the
doing?
back like I was like vibing to it. It got me hyped.
Nice. Yeah, my brother wrote that. My brother wrote that jam.
Hey, is he also a Bryant?
Yeah.
Nice. What's his name?
Dane Bryant. Yeah.
MCDB.
Yeah, right. So yeah, he's a guitar player and stuff, and he does music and like instrumentals and things like that. And so yeah,
Nice.
he came up with that one. But so listen, Karyn Bryant here with who are you, Ange? I mean, I just gave it away.
Don't tell him. It's Angela Overkill Hill. How you doing?
How you doing? Yeah. So today we are going to be talking with Terence McKinney, and guess what? We have. I didn't even get a chance to tell you this. We have a last minute bonus guest. Michael Gilmore will join us later on as well. So
cool.
he's also fighting on the upcoming card, and you guys know he was on the Ultimate Fighter, and he had reached out because he was like, "Yo, my boy Joaquin, I want to be on the show like Joaquin was." And so I was like, "Hey, maybe we can get you into it." He's in tonight. And the thing about Joaquin, Angie, is our guests tend to win their fights.
They do. Yo, this has been quite the occurrence. I feel like we've only had one guy on here that didn't win his fight.
Yeah.
But that was Cyril Gahn, and it was like a crazy feat to accomplish. And a lot of people thought he was gonna win, and he ended up getting wrestled. But I feel like he still performed really well because he was on this show.
We saw what Jamal Hill did last night. So
he
was a guest on show number 50. So
dude, that was nasty. That was so nasty.
Hey, and let's talk. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, you can't hate Johnny Walker because he's such a fun character and stuff. Mm-hmm. But the way his body just convulsed it was like a top of the head punch too. I always say there's a knockout button right here. When you hit the top of the head and make your head wobble or do that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's what he did. Oh shoot. It sounds like the audio isn't on for one person. Can everyone else hear us?
Everything looks good on my end here.
Okay. I'm just checking out the chat. What's up, guys?
Yeah. It's funny. So every now and then, I was just gonna pop Terrence in, and then he went away. I was gonna say,
no, come back, Terrence.
Come back, Terrence. Well, because initially, there he is. So yeah, we do want to talk about the fights and everything. So yeah, let's get Terrance McKinney in here with us. What up, Terrence? How are you? How's it going?
Hello. What's up? Oh, T-Rex, come back. He got that T-Rex smile too.
Wait, come back.
Come back. We need your face. Oh no, probably maybe technical difficulties over there.
That was just a little teaser. I'm gonna have to tell him though. He's gonna have to try to hold that phone a little more steady, or people are gonna get nauseous on that car ride.
You are a stickler on that nausea thing, the motion sickness thing with the fan and everything.
Yeah, no, the ceiling fans. I'm triggered. There must be something in a past life for me because I'm very triggered by ceiling fans. Always have been, and even when I would remember looking at houses and things like that, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want any ceiling fans. And I don't know what it is. I got a thing. They kind of vibe me. All right, let's try this again. What up, Terrence? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. It was doing some little robot stuff for a second.
Oh no!
It's good to see you, beautiful black queens, man.
Stop it! Yes, that's how every black woman should be greeted during Black History Month.
Yeah, of course.
Too. I love that.
Black
Thank
History
you.
Month. Let's go.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Hey, we're so glad that you could be here with us. When we had initially asked people who they wanted us to talk to, like you and Adrian Yanez were the two people who were like, you guys have to talk to these guys. So I'm glad that we're having you on now.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on the show, man. And you guys get ready for Saturday. It's about to be an amazing fight card, and I'm excited to be on it.
Yeah, you get ready for Saturday. What have you been doing, man? I know your fights got pushed back a little bit. What have
Mhm.
you been doing to stay ready, to stay focused?
Uh, just sharpen up everything, and maybe I wasn't giving him the respect he deserves. Just making sure I'm giving him the respect he deserves, and just training twice as hard. Maybe I wasn't training as hard, and now I
Oh,
am. So
Now, is that because you had such an incredible knockout? I mean, you come here, get, was it 7 seconds, right, for your knockout?
yeah,
Yeah. So in
that's
your UFC,
crazy.
yeah, your UFC debut, and so if you can do that, and you have multiple fast knockouts, does that have something to do with why maybe you weren't training as hard? Because you're like, look, I got dynamite in my hands. I don't need to really work that hard.
yeah. It's just sometimes like when I do film studies, like it just gets in my head because like it's just hard to gauge off a video or just watching
Mm.
them in person. Everything's completely different once you're in the cage.
Mhm.
For sure. I feel like a lot of times I'll get a matchup and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fuck them up, and then I watch the tape and then I realize, oh, okay, they were actually doing some good stuff in this fight, and just because they got knocked out that fight doesn't mean I'm gonna fuck them up. But like, do
Yeah,
you feel that way?
it's hard to get out of that mindset.
But it's also good to be confident in your skills and know
Exactly,
that
yeah.
you have
Exactly.
what it takes to beat them. But it's like that balance, right?
Yeah, gotta have the
Am I,
balance and
yeah,
yeah, I think I got it. This camp, man. We give them respect
nice.
and I did everything right and it's gonna show Saturday.
Mhm. So
Hey,
who do you mainly train with? What camp do you train out of?
I train at Warrior Camp in Spokane, Washington. We
Mhm.
got a lot of upcoming guys. We got a guy that fought on the Ultimate Fighter show, Josh Rittenhouse.
Right.
We
mm,
got the
yeah.
Mendez brothers coming up, Brian McDowell, Michael Sierra. We got Said Yabukov over here, who had a
Nice.
excellent UFC debut and choked out Trevin Jones.
Nice,
Wow.
nice. Well, and I remember this now. I don't know how to brain, whatever. Chiesa was your high school wrestling coach, right? Michael Chiesa?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was. So it sucks I didn't get the fight on that card, but everything happens for a reason. I'm trusting in God, but it's super sick to see everything going full circle.
Yeah. It's a trip because I love that kid, right? So Angie and I work with him sometimes at the desk, and it's funny to me because I remember meeting him at the Ultimate Fighter media day. So
Mm.
it's like
Oh
I was one
wow.
of the first girls. Like he hadn't seen a girl in how many weeks, right? Because that was like a 12-week season. Remember, they just did his live season. So he's like, "Oh my god!" And he did the classic, like, "Can I touch your hair?" type thing, and like yeah, like he
Michael,
was
no.
He's so endearing though.
Oh,
That kid is so endearing, and he's like a puppy dog. He's so much energy. But
Aw.
yeah,
so for me to see him, to remember meeting him at the Ultimate Fighter media day, and then to look at look at this young gun over here sitting at the desk now. So it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool when you can see
yeah,
somebody their growth process and stuff. So I'm sure he's extremely proud of you.
yeah. We're both proud of each other, man. It's sick to see him commentating and gonna be able to have a job after he's done fighting, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
Nice.
for sure.
So, I think the thing that everyone wants to hear about is just your insane story of
Hmm.
just rediscovering yourself and getting yourself back on the ball after you had that crazy incident at the party where you almost died, your heart stopped beating. Can you just walk people through that who haven't heard your story? And I know you like to use your story as a means of inspiration, so can you just talk about that real quick?
Yes, so like it's just once I got that freedom and I knew that I was gonna get no whoopings or there ain't gonna be no one breathing down my neck.
Yeah.
Just took the little freedom too much. Went to this party, was drinking and stuff. Ended up taking a viral acid and over ate the shrooms. And then like a lot of things start happening. I start seeing demons and then I stood up, told them I'm not afraid when I was praying, and they shut my body down and I had to watch myself fall through a window head first.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I just woke up in the hospital next day, and I knew something bad happened because my fists were swollen. I had a cut on my eye, so it was definitely a wake up call for sure. I'll say that. And I just knew if I died twice that God had a special place for me in His world, and I had to use the story He gave me to help motivate people to do better if they're struggling. And I feel like it's part of my job, not just to be as a fighter, but to bring as many people as I can to God, help them heal, help them recover, and show them that they're not alone. And I think there's more to my purpose besides fighting, and that's what I'm here to show.
Well, and it's incredible too because weren't you supposed to have a college scholarship and weren't you like about to go off and do great things?
Yeah, and I actually did end up going to college that year, and it was a
oh, good.
great season. I was ranked number two in the nation for Division two college, but court kind of screwed that over for me, and I had to keep going back and forth in school, and it just wasn't working out, and that's how I began fighting.
Right, right. And have you is it the type of thing where you can never ever even be around drugs, or are you like, does that trigger you now? What's your vibe? Because you're a famous athlete now, you're going to be at parties,
Yeah,
you're going to be in situations where that stuff is going to be all
yeah.
around you.
It's just like that stuff. Just I just know my mental state and where I'm at. Like
Mhm,
Like maybe I might drink, like maybe have a drink, a shot after my fight, but nothing crazy. I like to be on
mhm,
my P's and Q's and stay sharp, because, like people know, you never know who's watching. So
mhm,
the way you carry yourself is huge, and I want to be a champion on and off the mat. So no one would ever see me off my shields or not doing the right thing.
mhm.
I can imagine that experience would probably turn you off from
Yeah.
the peer pressure or anything. If someone offered you anything later, you just know, you're not one to like enjoy that. It's just gonna end
Yeah.
up like crazy. So good
Yeah.
for you. Do you ever think about what you could have done in wrestling if that hadn't happened? Because I know I have a few friends who were great wrestlers, but then something happened, and you have to deal with either scholarships or the court stopping you from being able to compete as a college student because of that. Like if something goes on your record, even if it's a juvie record, it can affect your college athletic career. Do you ever think about how far you could have taken it?
Not at all. I just
Okay.
know like God had a plan for me, and I knew it was time to walk away from wrestling. I got all the life lessons I needed from it to prepare me for these kind of moments. Like I wrestled at state finals in front of 12,000 people, and I know what it feels like to be a champion and take third. And I just know what it takes to battle back, and I'll never let a defeat define me. As you guys see, when I lost in contender series, I lost two times in a row. You guys have never seen me give up because I already
Mm-hmm.
faced those kind of adversities, and that's why I know God put me in wrestling so I could be prepared for these moments.
Well,
Nice.
that's going to be the definition of, how they say you can't teach heart. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's going to be hard to ever get you to quit. So what do you make of the matchup that you do have coming up? You did post a very funny thing on your gram, like, prayers up for Faraz, and everybody, and then it said nothing's wrong with him. It's just that he's fighting Terrance McKinney on February 26th. I
Yeah,
thought that was so clever. That was really funny.
yeah.
But yeah, what do you make of the matchup?
No disrespect to him, it's just my season, but I just know what the abilities God given me, and I got the confidence. I'm confident what God given me, and I know He's on my
Mhm.
side in this journey, and I expect nothing less but a win Saturday. I don't care if that's the first, third round, or two decision. I'm here to put it all on the line, not just for myself, for my family, for my teammates to sacrifice their time, sacrifice their bodies getting hurt for me, because when I'm sharp, I'm tagging people, and for them to come back and do it again, like that's who I'm doing it for, not just them. I'm doing it for the people that can't fight, that been through abuse, that feel like they're neglected, left. I'm fighting out there for you guys. So just know when I'm out there, expect fireworks every time.
Ooh. And watching tape on you is actually a breeze because your fights are always so short. So, one thing I've been asking everyone, especially
Yeah.
guys like you who just have finishes all across the board, how do you get those finishes? What do you think is the key to finishing your fight as opposed to going to decision? Aside from, you have the God given talent that he's giving you, but what do you think sets you apart from the rest of the pack?
It's just because people give people too much respect. Like once they hurt them,
Mm.
they start slowing down. And not me. Like if I see you win or I see you hurt, I'm like a pit bull. I'm attacked, and just make sure you got a good poker face, or you're getting finished. I promise you that.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
Even if they're like about to sneeze, you're like, oh, I fucked them up.
yeah,
Ah!
yeah. I swear, yeah, we're getting
Yeah.
active. Know that. And I
Nice.
just think like a lot of these guys really just be throwing three punches most if they go crazy with combination
Mhm.
or one punch combination, pretty much just like sparring. And that's just not what I do, as you guys see. I train all camp. I know the range. I know what combinations my coach drilled for me to hit. That's gonna work perfectly on my opponent. So I trust in him. I'm trusting in God, and there's just no need to fill out nothing. And you guys will see that right away again. Like I'm not taking no step backwards.
I like it.
There's also probably something to, when you become known as a knockout artist, people kind of fear the knockout and then maybe they're in their own head about it even, right? So maybe
Mhm.
sometimes you just have that, you're in their head a little bit about it.
Yeah, and people can feel that, and people gonna know when it's real, and like I can tell when I'm looking out. I know they can feel it.
I
I
kind of feel
always
like
feel like an alpha male type of guy. Like a pit bull.
You're so
I
chill
always do.
though. You're so
right.
chill, so it's hard to imagine
Yeah.
that side of you. Like maybe
Yeah,
if
you guys can
maybe
only
if I saw
you'll
you in the
only see
training
it in
room.
my fight or at the gym. Ask
Yeah.
anyone who trained with me, like just be ready. Like I'm training just how I fight. I'm not
Well, I was going to say, you're kind of
fast
like
paced.
you remind me of Jamal though. That's what I was going to say. Like, cause Jamal is kind of chill, but then he goes out there and just lights people up. But then when he's
Yeah.
on the mic, he was kind of soft spoken and everything. And I feel like it's kind of that same thing. And now everybody's like, oh yeah, no, he's the real deal. Like, you keep
Mhm.
knocking people out. It doesn't matter how loud you speak on the mic.
Hmm.
Exactly. Like my mom told me, act like you've been there before, man. Like I don't have to do no talking. I'm just gonna let my performance do it for me.
Oh, yay. Go, mom. I have a question from someone on Instagram,
Mhm.
Astrid D. Lewis. She said, I'm interested in your story of getting to the UFC. How was it competing in smaller promotions up to now?
Um, it was a great experience, but like people know, man, there's no greater pinnacle than the UFC, man. Just to be inside of that cage, in front of 8,000 people or how many people ever was there, man. It's just no greater feeling. Just imagine you're Goku and you're getting all that spirit bomb energy. It's
Yeah.
pretty sick. So, but yeah, I always respected the amateur scenes too because like they're giving us a chance to show ourselves. So like any
Mhm.
venue, I always would stay out there, talk to the promoter, and just say thank you for the opportunity, man. Make sure all you guys fighters doing that. That's how you network. That's how you're gonna get
Yeah.
better pay, and they're gonna be able to see you and get you on different shows. Just always make sure you carry yourself right.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. I love that. And is there any, and if anyone has any questions too in the chat, feel free to ask
Yeah.
on.
That's what I'm
Is
looking at
there,
over here.
but is there any other advice you give to up and coming fighters like yourself trying to make it into the big stage? Because your story is also inspirational because you got in the contender series, that was like your big break, and then you lost, but then came back and like knocked out three people to get back into UFC. So uh is there anything that you can tell anyone who maybe is about to give up? I know a lot of people were like that before the pandemic. They were just like right about to get a regular job and quit fighting, but something kept them going. What advice do you have for those athletes?
For every fighter coming up, just make sure you stay consistent and whatever technique you learn at practice, make sure you drill it at practice right away. Don't be a guy that learned technique and then you're hitting it all day at mids. You're memorizing ahead, and then you get to fight. You're not hitting the combination. It's
Mm.
because you're not repping it at practice. So whatever you
Hmm.
guys learn on the mids, make sure you're drilling that at practice. Make sure you stay consistent, bro, because there's guys out there that was cut from the UFC multiple times, and that time's gonna come. Everything comes full circle if you can stay consistent in the game, and that's what it's all about.
Nice.
Do you have a piece of advice that somebody gave you that you always took with you?
Yeah, it's just my favorite thing. This is like my motto. Just remember they can't stop you, even if they stop you, man.
Ah, okay.
Mhm.
Nice.
It's true. Yeah,
Nice.
it is true. It is true. And I'm curious too, if you, when you were coming up, was there a fighter that you, were most inspired by? Like, what made you? I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I got
was
you.
there
I
one
got
guy
you.
that you're like, I want to be like them?
Yeah, that was Anderson Silva for me
Yeah,
growing up, but that made me want to fight and just mimic his style. Like he's so slick and he always had dynamic finishes and I kind of want to mimic that, just
yeah.
be a showman.
Well, he's pretty excellent. Did you? So I am curious too. What did you think of Jamal's fight last night? Did you watch the fights last night?
Of course, that's my boy. I've been trying to tell people don't sleep on him because he's built like that. Look, my man's power is ridiculous. His speed, and he's a go-getter, bro. Like I
Yeah.
said, these guys want to spar, man. When no one fights good going backwards, and you just touch him up, and as you guys see, that perfect shot will come.
Hmm. Well,
Okay.
it's funny that you say that the thing because after we had him on, I was looking at the comments and they were like, "Damn, KB," they said that I was kind of going at him for having like a dad bod or whatever. Because I
Yeah,
said, which I didn't ever say the words dad bod. Never ever
yeah.
would I ever say that. But because I had asked him about the potential of going to 85, like, hey, is that something he could ever do? Even though I know Jamal's really tall. So I'm like asking, questions for other things. So people are like, damn, yeah, why are you hating on him so much and like calling him out for not doing cardio and saying he's got a dad bod? I'm like, bro, I had never said that at all. But he does have a deceptive build where
Hey,
you don't
he know
think
he a little
like
tubby. He know he a little tubby. That's my big bro. I love. He know he a little tubby guy, but the dude, like you guys see, he's a beast, and that's what's so cool about the fight game, man. The body size. No, you see all kind of fighters, and
mm,
I like that it makes everyone equal. Like no one can say just because you're fat you can't fight. It gives people a chance to have like purpose, and that's what's so cool about the fight game. You can be loved, no matter what shape or size or form you're coming in, and it's just cool how everyone still gives them support. They don't talk, and it's
mhm.
super sick.
Nice. And Jamal Hawes seems like he has kind of thick skin too, so I feel like
Yeah, not he.
he can make those jabs, and he's not gonna take it too bad.
Yeah, yeah. He don't like we talk crap though. He be with it. My boy's really with this
Aw,
with the shit, man. I love it, bro.
that's
Nice.
funny.
Well, it's been
Just know
sweet
you in
looking
a
at him.
real dog fight to the death whenever you fight my boy Jamal and me, man. We
Yeah,
we come
we
we
see it,
we come from the street, bro. Like when we out
dude.
there, it's not just competing. It's life or death for us out there.
Well, we're just happy there's a ref involved when you guys fight
Yeah,
because that's just
exactly. Or it
it
get
gets
bad.
nasty. It gets
We're little
nasty.
menaces out there. I swear.
I love it.
It is. Well, people are saying yes. Some people were saying that it was kind of shocking. But this person, Effie Paula from your Twitch, Ange, is asking, what do you think about Shemaev? What do you think about him? I know it's a different weight class from you, but he's the guy that right now a lot of people think is the future champ and could potentially be a champ in a couple of different divisions. And it's all about Hamzat right now.
Oh man, he's doing what he's supposed to. But like I said, I want to see how he does against Gilbert Burns, and I think
Hmm.
that's gonna decide a lot of things if he's a real deal or not for me. But you can't lie about his pedigree wrestling. This dude's done his part. He's slick, but we got to see him against the top-notch top five guys.
Hmm.
But I think he's definitely gonna give a lot of people trouble at 170.
Well, and the fact that Darren Till went out there to train with him kind of gives him that like, yeah, then he's the real deal. I mean, if he's Till approved.
Till
I know, but
approved. Is
Till's
that
the
a thing
same way.
now?
He low key a fat guy too, man.
Oh yeah,
He
not even
low-
low key. What do you mean low key?
I seen him. I
He
was like,
owns
oh
that
hell
thing.
no, bro. You better train, man. No one is getting wrestled, bro. You're not doing the right
Yeah.
things. It looks like.
Yeah, wrestling kind of gives you a certain build, right? Like you
Yeah,
can't
that's
not
going.
have
That's
an 8-pack if you're not wrestling
yeah. If
every
you
day.
Yeah.
wrestling, that's gonna like I saw a video. He said, yeah, I got my ass kicked lad. Yeah, it's a different breed once you get in that wrestling kind of grind, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, what do you in your downtime? What do you do? Are you a gamer? Because we are on Twitch as well. Are you a gamer? What do you do for fun when you're not fighting?
I game sometimes, but nothing too crazy. And like lately, I just sleep, watch some movies. Just sleep and watch movies right now. That's about it.
What's the last best movie that you've watched?
Yeah.
The movie's been kind of corny lately for me. It's more like just there's some sounds on the TV.
Okay, you're like half watching, half on your
Yeah,
phone,
you
half
Yeah.
know how it
like,
goes. Same with like any
yeah,
shows. Like I started, then the next thing you know, I'm on episode 10. Don't know what
yeah.
the
Right.
hell happened.
Because you woke up
Wake
on the.
up, yeah.
We've all been there, and then you're back. You're like, wait a minute, did I even? And then you go back, yeah, 2.5 episodes. You're like, oh yeah, that's where I left
Yeah,
off.
yeah, that's what happened. That's
Um,
what happened.
Just
we've
watch
all
the
been
recap.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you watch the Olympics?
Usually, but only for wrestling though.
So just
Okay.
summer.
Yeah.
I don't want
Okay.
to generalize. I feel like a lot of people of a certain group don't pay as much attention to the Winter Olympics. Cough, cough, if you know what I'm saying, because there's not that many.
I actually like I like
That's why some
I
people
like
don't
the
watch the Winter
snowboarding
Olympics.
Olympics though. I
Yeah,
might catch a couple of
Those look
snowboard
cool.
runs.
Yeah, it looks
snowboard.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Well, yeah, you're from Seattle. Like it's all about the
yeah,
snowboarding.
yeah. I'll watch a couple of snowboard runs for sure, but not the skis.
Snowboarding's kind of cheating though, because it looks like skating, you know. So like,
Yeah, that's what makes it so hard. Yeah,
yeah, that's why it like looks really cool when you see it on
Yeah,
tape as opposed to all the other
yeah.
fluffy,
it's true.
the fluffy Olympic
You
things.
know when they stop and all the snow flashes up, you like, ah, that dude's kind of cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah, it goes slow mo.
Right, right.
uh,
But well, and the crazy thing is like you don't have kids yet, do you, Terrence?
not yet.
Okay, okay.
He's
Soon
like,
though.
but I'm taking
But
Soon, soon.
I'm taking
I'm taking baby
something.
mama applications.
You know. Nah,
Well,
but that I got some exciting news on that end, but you guys are here after my fight.
Oh, I'm
really?
excited.
Okay,
Ooh, I
okay.
can't
Well,
wait.
Yeah.
I'm only asking because it's on that Olympic thing, the people who do that crazy, what is it, the alpine jump, the ski thing where they go down that crazy ski and then they go
Do
flying,
Oh,
that
like,
yeah.
jump, they do
The
like the
big
double
one.
corkscrew, break your neck and your back,
yeah, yeah,
land.
or
Yeah.
they're
I'm just kidding.
just sailing in the air, but they're
All of
sailing
it.
forever. And I'm thinking, like, the
Yeah.
first time your kid says that's what they want to do is like, oh, hell no. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, you're not,
Yeah, my kid then asked me, oh nah man, you ain't Superman. What
nah,
you what's gonna
Yeah,
happen?
like
I'm doing
no,
the
you're
Jonah
gonna
Hill, but
be
like,
you're gonna
no,
be an
I'll,
MMA fighter. That's more
I'll do
safe.
a little rail or something, nothing too crazy, a straight flat downhill. That's my kind of
right,
speed.
right.
Oh man, that's scary.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, let me see if there's any more questions here because it is your fight week. Do you have any like fight week rituals? Do you know it's the last Sunday you'll have before your throwdown? So
I never really care about the fight until I'm in the cage. I'm just gonna be real with you
Okay.
guys. I try not to think about it at all.
No, that's good. That's interesting though,
Because there's
because
just no point in my
yeah.
opinion. Like, why would I waste all my adrenaline, my
Hmm.
good blood pumping? I need to rest, be low, so like my body's not tired. I'm 100% energy. I might even take a nap before the fight. Who
Nice.
knows?
What
wow.
about after the fight? Do you have like a thing that you always look forward to doing?
Yeah, just pretty much being able to have a break finally,
Hmm.
be free for a little bit, you know. But usually, like I said, I try not to do anything after my fights because that's when the hype's like the craziest. So I let that die down before I go do anything, so I'm not
Yeah.
really being seen or pressed.
Mhm.
Okay.
You know, the whole sleepy thing just reminds me, yesterday I spoke to my buddy Gegard. So it just made me just drop in a reminder. But you know, Gegard used to like have that look, you know, sometimes when he's standing there walking the
Yeah,
dog,
he's
the
just
dog
like
walking up fight, and it
Yeah.
just looked like is he waiting in line at the
like
bank or is he about to fight? Yeah.
he always looks bored.
Yeah,
Right.
like look at all the best fighters. It's all about composure. You won't even know these guys are fighting. So
Hmm.
that's kind of like what I implement in my game. You know,
Yeah.
it's just what the best do.
Yeah. You know, is it weird for you when you see the footage of what happened to you that night when everything went bad? Like, do you how do you even process that? Like, because I would imagine in a way sometimes, you know, when people look at fight tape, like if you saw yourself get knocked out or if you does it kind of match up to the same kind of thing of like seeing yourself in a fight?
It's different now because back in the day I used to hate it. I was highly embarrassed about it, and then
Mhm.
God made it into a blessing, something that brought my career to a pinnacle that I would never even thought from one fight. You know, like
Mhm.
I got more followers than people that been in UFC for 10 years. Like it's just crazy what God can do.
Mhm.
Like that's how I know. Like this is all God's doing, man. Everything that happened was for this moment. What we're talking about right now. Like this is out here changing people's lives. They're messaging me, man, and there could be no better feeling in my heart coming in the fight week.
Nice. That's
Hey.
awesome. I
Good
love
for
it.
you, man. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you were able to find a way to take that horrible experience and channel
Yeah.
it into something positive. Like, yeah, it has to be part of the reason why you're so good at fighting. You know, like you
Yeah,
Yeah.
just surviving, being able to survive that, survive death, and come back. Like you're
Mhm.
every moment watching your fight, you look like you're in that moment specifically. You're not thinking ahead. You're not thinking about what if you just mess something up. You're just like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and you can see it
yeah,
in the fight. Like
yeah.
you're like, oh shit, oh, you
Just
know, like
instant,
it's
just going. You know, just
yeah.
vibing.
No, it's cool. You're always in that flow state. And I feel like an experience like that will make it easier to channel that because
Mhm.
you're not living a life. You're like YOLO. You're like a living,
Yeah,
breathing
like
YOLO, you know? Like
swear, I promise. I'm like,
yeah.
fuck it. Like, what I got to lose, man? I'm the
Yeah.
underdog 2 times in a row now. Like, when I'm out there, I was like, I got nothing to lose, man. And I
Yeah.
just go out like this. My mom tells me, she said, did you give your all? Did you do your best? Then you got nothing to be ashamed of. If I did
Mhm.
everything I could possibly, he was just a better man that night. And if he wins, that's just how it goes for me.
Oh,
As
I
long
love
as
your
I know I did my
mom.
personal best, nothing can phase me. I'll be like, yeah,
Yes.
I did that. I went out there, left it all on there. I got nothing to be ashamed of, and
Mhm.
that's why I fight like that. Cause I want to know I did everything in my power. Like if I got beat, I know yeah, I put it all out there, and I got nothing to be
Mhm.
ashamed of.
I love it.
That's
I love
awesome.
it. Well, I am working this weekend, so I
Hey.
will be talking about you this weekend, and I'm excited about that. Is there any kind of message, specific message for this fight that you want the people to know about that I can recount for them if I have the chance?
Yeah, be looking for that first round knockout. You guys know how I'm coming, baby.
Okay.
And
Okay.
biggest shout out to God, man. All glory to Him. Shout out to my family. Shout out to my
Mhm.
team. Like I said, that's why you guys hear me say we because it takes a village to go to war. You know, it takes a family. Like no war is won without support. You know.
Mhm.
Love it. Love
Awesome.
it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Terrence, for joining us, T Rex.
Yeah,
Yes,
sending you
sir.
your
T-Rex,
good
baby.
vibes. Good vibes for
Yeah.
fight week. Make sure you get
Yes,
there
sir.
safe. Both of y'all weigh in safely, and we get
Yeah.
to see a war on Saturday. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on your show, man. I enjoyed the time for sure.
Cool,
Yay.
cool, cool. All right.
Good
We'll see
having
you. I'll
you.
see you this weekend.
All right, you stay blessed, you guys.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye, love.
Bye.
Bye.
What a good
Oh
kid.
my god. I feel like we do this every time.
I
We
know.
do
Every time we're like,
this.
I love him now. Like, that's my favorite dude now.
He's so sweet. Every
He's so
time you said,
sweet.
my mom told me, I'm like, oh, my heart is
Yeah.
it's getting so big. It's enlarging.
Well, he had us from Hello, Hello Queens, right? I mean, he had us.
I know. He got us right out the. His mama raised him right. Let me tell you, anyone who answers the phone like that, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
Your mama
that was
raised me.
good. I love it. I love it. Well, so it is really an incredible story of his. And it is really cool that he's been able to turn that around and turn it into something positive. Because I gotta believe that helps him connect with people more if he goes to schools and talks to kids and stuff like that. Like, there's no way that doesn't help, by having that story and having him, turn his life around like that. Like, people can relate to a kid like him.
Yeah, because like people are so embarrassed about the time they fucked up, and it's usually never as bad as you almost died a couple times in the hospital, because like a lot of times you end up dead and then that's the end of the story. So it's not just like an inspirational story for anyone who's gone through that, but it's also a cautionary tale. Like, make sure if you are doing something crazy, like make sure you pace yourself, make sure you're like with people you trust who are going to call the ambulance if you get hurt. Like a lot of times these things that happen with drugs and alcohol could easily be avoided if you were just surrounded by, you were just in a safe environment. But also the fact that, kids lie to their parents about what they're about to do. Just like he said, he was excited because he didn't have anyone breathing down his neck, like maybe just putting this stuff out there makes it easier to talk to your parents. Like, hey, I'm going to go to a party. And then they're going to tell you all the things that are annoying to hear, but that kids need to hear because, when you're young, you think you're invincible and you're going to live forever. And, that's usually the thing that causes deaths in young people. So yeah, it's a really heavy story. Like his story is super heavy, and it's cool that he's like not too embarrassed to talk about it now. He's actually sharing it and sharing that this is the impetus to propel him into a career in the UFC. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And it's also the thing about it too. And you know what is, I wanted to play with this too, this other little thing, because I remembered earlier, I was like, wait, did we used to have this up here sometimes?
Hey, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about it. And then I was like, oh wait, people don't know what they're watching. So
in case you're wondering.
So I put it back because I was like, yeah, something was missing. Okay. So, but yeah, no, I think about that a lot because my daughter is currently 15 and a half and she's a good kid. Yeah. And I believe she's telling me the truth and I believe she's honest about stuff, but she's getting to the age where she's going to go to parties and, she's already said that people have offered her things or whatever. And, she's turned them down or whatever. But
good job.
It's out there. And if you had ever told me like, oh, you're going to raise a kid in Los Angeles, you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
But I will say there's something to be said for, and now suddenly this turned into a parenting podcast, which we did not intend. But I will just say that, there is something to be said for when there's other things to do, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to only do drugs. I think sometimes kids get into the trouble more with the drugs because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bored.
Right.
That's when I do drugs. I'm bored. I need something to do. I watched all of Netflix.
Right. Or it makes all the boring stuff you got to do more interesting. So,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Right.
Like, gotta file taxes? Oh, I know. Smoke a bowl. Yeah, this will totally get done in a reasonable time.
So to remind everybody, Michael Gilmore is going to join us in a few minutes as well. He's also fighting on the card this weekend.
Uh-oh.
But in the meantime, I did want to ask you, sorry, I'm really very thirsty now. I did want to ask you about, last night, was there anything else that stood out to you besides Jamal? Oh, well, and not even just besides that, before I actually get ahead of me, what do you think of the idea of Johnny Walker maybe just trying to fight as a heavyweight? On the one hand, it sounds counterintuitive. Like, if you think he's chinny, why would you want him to be up there with bigger, heavier hands? But at the same time, what if it's the weight cut that's making him chinny?
I always say weight cuts can hurt more than help the ability to get knocked out. Like
Yeah.
if you're cutting a lot of weight, a lot of that water comes out of your fucking skull, like it's
Right.
coming out of your brain, and you no longer have that cushion of protection. So when your brain gets hit, this is your skull and this is your brain, and when you get hit, there's like that little like emptiness of protection that's like full of water. And when you cut a lot of water, then there's nothing there. It just bounces off of the side of your skull. I'm not a doctor, but that's how I
but you're right. It is. It's like having some bubble wrap between you and the wall, and now you're just hitting your head on the wall.
Yeah, everyone popped the bubbles, so it's just bubble wrap with no air in it.
Right.
It's just it's smacking up against your head, and it makes it easier to get knocked out.
Yeah.
One example, when I first heard about this, the example used was Joanna, because Joanna had just gotten knocked out by Rose, and she was pretty public about how hard her weight cut was for that fight. And she's a big girl too. Like I think her weight cuts are probably hard every fight, but it was especially hard for that one. And then she got knocked out with one. What was it? Was it a punch or a kick? I forget, but
I think it was in a kick, and then she got followed up with punches.
It was a head kick, and she followed up with ground and pound. But that, I feel like that wouldn't have happened if she had a little more water in her skull, and that's the thing. That's why I agree with you, that if Johnny Walker moved up to heavyweight, he'd probably have a much easier life. He'd probably have a much easier weight cut and fight week and everything. And then he could go in there feeling as comfortable as he does when he trains. I'm sure he's not getting dropped every day in training,
Right.
So fighting as close to that weight as possible, I think, is the healthiest option for a lot of people, especially when you're like that much bigger than the guy and you're still getting dropped. Like he looked like another weight class above thingy, but it didn't help, the punches still rattle that brain. So I think he'd do a lot better at heavyweight. And we know he's super explosive, but he can gas. So if you just take that weight cut out of the equation, then he's also going to have a bigger gas tank as well. And a lot of the heavyweights recently have been the more energetic, the faster ones that are winning, as opposed to just the sheer bigger size heavyweight. So I think it would be a smart move.
Yeah, I think he could be, because he's very tall. Yeah, his legs are really long. And so he could be like an Aspinall kind of heavyweight, that kind of fit heavyweight who can still, like you said, be fast and explosive, or like the Chris Dawkins, you know what I mean? These guys that are, that they're more explosive. Dawkins is fast. And so it'll be interesting. Luckily, hopefully he's taking it as well as he pretends to be, or, you know what I mean? The pictures that he puts out on the ground, like he seems to be in good spirits. He does seem to be, a lighthearted enough guy. And hopefully that's true, because that's tough. That was a tough knockout. And, you don't like seeing people fall like that. And it definitely did look bad.
It was weird, man. It was really just like it made your kind of gut wrench the way that his body convulsed. And I was actually getting my hair done during that fight. I was getting my hair done. Thanks for noticing.
Looks nice.
And
it does look nice.
Thank you. Fishing. But
it does.
I was getting my hair done, and I was watching the fights on my phone, and then my phone died right before Jamal Hill's fight. And I was like, fuck, I really want to see that. And then when I got in my car, I charged my phone, and the first thing I saw like on Twitter was that photo of Johnny Walker with his head up against the cage, looking like a dead body. And then right under that was a Cardi B tweet saying, my mood right now is, do you want to see a dead body? And I was like, what is happening? What is happening right now?
Somebody had also I saw somebody comment on that too, because there was a tweet and they put like Johnny and Jamal in the picture, and it just seemed like like we don't need to see that now. We know what happened. I don't want to see that. I felt that.
It makes my stomach turn.
I know. I didn't like it.
But it's cool that our guy did that. It's one of those knockouts that like I'm like, man, I wish I had something like that on my record,
for sure.
did give me those little tips, and I've been applying them to my training. So thank you, Jamal Hall. I'm definitely looking for that KO in the pocket next fight.
Yeah, nice. No, I love it. And people are saying, yeah, Jamal does obviously hit hard, which we're seeing. And it's funny because he is only got one loss, and we know what, obviously that was the submission. But it's funny because now everybody's like, oh, who should be next for him? And then they were already talking about him maybe fighting like Anthony, and, like jumping up to fight in number 6 and 7 because he was number 12 going into this fight, I think.
Yeah.
And so then they're already like trying to put him up there. And it's like, all right, it's going to get interesting for him. It's going to get really interesting.
Dude, things are going to blow up really fast because I'm always surprised when I look at his numbers, like his social media numbers. I'm always surprised because he has so many knockouts against really good people and they're still low. So I feel like it's going to happen overnight. Like if not this fight, the next one, the next big knockout, he's just going to explode because everyone loves a knockout artist. At light heavyweight, we're still trying to see who the next superstar is. So there's a lot of momentum, like upward momentum for him, for his career right now.
Because what Glover is fighting soon, right? So he's fighting, and I know, is it Maheta?
Glover's fighting that guy that just popped up,
Jiri Prochazka.
I remember that guy with the
Jiri
ponytail.
Prochazka, but Santos,
he got a ponytail like mine.
Right. Santos Santos is fighting. Anthony's still healing up, but it's going to be interesting for him. It's definitely going to get interesting for him.
Oh, and I just saw a comment on my Twitch.
And speaking of winning, though, our other guest, Buckley. Joaquin Buckley won his fight last night, and he had your dust, Mr. Detroit Urban Survival Training.
Oh my God. He was not lying. He actually came through and he did that. But let me just say what's up to Decent Point Bro. He says he trained with me when I first started with my husband back at Fight House. Fight House, what's up? Fight House was such like fire / health hazard, by the way.
Oh yeah, we're all I've been in gyms like that. You're like, this just isn't safe.
But he said we're all just doing it for fun. Amazing to see how far you've come. What's up, Decent Point Bro? I'm not sure who you are, but I'm sure I'll remember your face if I saw your face. Thanks for the shout out. It's been a crazy journey for sure.
It's great. We're very proud of you, even though I didn't know you all that back then. But look at my big bro is in here now too. Karyn Bryant there, folks, joining us. So he's the one who does the music for us, and he also does the music for me on Tuesday Night Festivities and stuff like that. He's an amazing guitar player. So you could go over and like find him on the gram, and 6-string guy, and you'll find his music over there and stuff like that. Because I grew up hearing like Van Halen all day, every day down the hall from me. And so that's why I know so much hard rock and everything. It's from him being a guitar player. So I actually love Van Halen too. They're amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. But so Buckley won his fight. Against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, and nobody expected. Well, I can't say nobody, but it was sort of surprising that it went the distance with two guys that are that explosive. I mean, and Al Hassan's legs, like it's insane. His thighs are insane.
He got them Ghanaian thighs, the Ghanaian thigh, like that is straight from the motherland. Like he ate all the, I don't know, Ghanaian food, fufu, and
I don't know anything about the food.
I used to know stuff, but now I don't anymore. I had my best friend in college was Ghanaian, but
okay, nice.
But that boy got hams. He got hams for legs, and that's where the punch power comes from. So I was happy that Buckley was able to survive because he also looked a weight class smaller than him. Like it was scary seeing them stand in front of each other. I'm like, you need to move.
Disarm him.
You need to move in order to survive this situation. You need to move underneath this punch, not into it. Oh God, I hope Dust is telling him some good information over there. Because
seriously,
that was scary. But I will say that it is funny when people do the gimmick third corner, because usually the third corner is just like the timekeeper. they'll just like put a timer on their phone and they'll be like, halfway, you know? So it's not like it's not as big of it won't be a shock to the game plan or anything, bringing in a third person who is just there for fun.
Right.
But a lot of times it's good to have that extra voice. Like you don't want to just walk in with 2 people because the other corner is going to have 3 people yelling. So you want a third person too to just be like, yeah. Good punch, you know. Hey, judge, that was a good punch. You know,
a hype man. Right,
exactly. Yeah. So I feel like that was actually a really good choice when you're just looking for a hype man. So
for sure.
Smart on Buckley.
And speaking of perfect timing now, because we can welcome in Michael Gilmore, who was actually in Buckley's corner on Fight Island.
Hey,
what up?
Hi, ladies.
How are you? Good to see you.
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. So you said you were golfing. This is a late addition to the show, folks. We kind of pulled this together this afternoon. So it's cool that you could make it, but you said you were out golfing. So how'd you shoot?
Normal, so bad.
Okay.
I was under 100, which is good.
Nice.
Okay.
And you played 9? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I played 9 yesterday and 18 today. I like to stay moving when I'm cutting weight. If not, I just sit here and I'm hungry.
Nice.
I get that. I used to get like a huge iced coffee with nothing in it, just a black iced coffee, and then I walk around and shop. That would be my cutting weight.
The worst part about shopping when you're cutting weight is then when you're done cutting weight, nothing fits.
That's true. See, I thought only girls had that problem.
No, definitely not.
It's interesting to know that guys also have that problem. It's the worst. You need to have an range of outfits for your weight cut body and for your like regular, like out of camp fat body.
Definitely. Well, I always threw receipts away, and I had to learn to save them when I'm shopping while weight cutting.
Yeah.
Because then the next week it just does not fit.
No, not at all.
Well, then that's smart too, because you can dress up for a media day and stuff, and then look all fancy in your Gucci or whatever, and then return it.
I have nothing Gucci in my wardrobe.
You don't strike me as a Gucci guy. You strike me as like I don't know, not a Gucci guy.
Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, no, I was talking with Joaquin this weekend, and they were talking about drip, and I said, "What's the opposite of drip?" Because that's what I've got.
No,
I see you. You're more you do look more of like a Carhartt kind of guy. If I'm going to generalize, you know what I mean, like a utility wear, like cool stuff. But that I don't see you with a lot of flash. I see you with like. Cool minimal looking stuff. You know what I mean?
Like
you're not going to be
cool
the flowered
Dickies.
Blazer guy. Yeah.
No. I wear a fanny pack. It's all about utility.
Nice.
I love fanny pack. I love a nice fanny pack during fight week.
For sure. Well, so hey, how did you? We were just talking about last night with Joaquin having dust in his corner. Do you explain to people how it was that you ended up cornering Joaquin when he scored that incredible kick heard around the world in Fight Island? Because you didn't go to Fight Island as part of his team, right?
Well, I knew that I was going to be cornering him before going to Fight Island, but I was originally there for Daquan Townsend was the reason that we would be out there. So our head coach, his name is also Joaquin. So I'll just call him Coach Joaquin for this, so it's not confusing. Had been introduced with Joaquin Buckley. I think he said he was fighting in Israel, and there was some connection to somebody in Israel that knew my head coach. And Joaquin had kind of been a nomad when it comes to training and really training himself and just kind of bouncing around trying to find a fit for him. And somebody had mentioned my coach Joaquin, and they had connected, and my coach just continuously reached out to him. No pressure about coming to the gym, but just checking in on him, seeing how he's doing. And Joaquin had got the fight notice about going to Fight Island and didn't have anybody that had a passport, and so he had reached out to Coach Joaquin and knew that we were heading out there and had contacted us, and we were like, yeah, we'll definitely stay. So I had about 30 to 40 minute conversation with Joaquin Buckley before heading out there, and learned his opponent, although that switched last minute too. But what me and our other corner who was there last night, also Justin Hardig, did is we watched every bit of film on Joaquin Buckley that we can possibly find, because on Fight Island we had that 48 hours
right in the room you had to stay.
And so we figured, because the opponent switched, we wanted to learn more about Joaquin Buckley, and that was more important than who his opponent was. And so we watched hours of film learning Joaquin in and out, you know, in preparation for cornering him. And I mean, there's nothing that prepares you for something flashy like his knockout like that. But that's how we ended up in his corner. And you know, since then he's been doing his training camps with us in Michigan. And he's doing fantastic. I mean, he's one of our family members. He's, you know, he still lives in St. Louis, but when it's time for fight camp, he comes to Michigan.
That's awesome. That's really diligent of you guys too, because a lot of I know a lot of corners that wouldn't do that for someone who they're randomly cornering. You know, like a lot of corners would just be like, "Oh, okay, you know, we'll talk to him. We'll hold some pads. We'll yell some things. We'll give him water. That's about it."
No, we definitely took it about as serious as we can take it. You know, and we were still there with Duquan as well, but we had already gone over game plan. You know, knew his opponent inside and out. So we took that time to really learn Joaquin so that we can best help him in preparation. And you know, it took a little bit to break through the barrier that Joaquin has up. You know, just meeting us for the first time. To gain that trust for us to be in his corner. And during that week, we built a bond and a friendship, you know, that is still lasting, you know, to this day. So, you know, he saw what we put in and how we valued him and, you know, really took that responsibility serious and still do. And so it's, you know, he's a really, really good dude.
Yeah. See, like it's special what you did. Like, you know that it's special what you did. That's probably why he was able to bond with you guys after not being able to find a fit in other places, because like so many people try to mass produce fight camp, you know, and when you actually look at the athlete and look at what they're good at and do something that's fit for them as opposed to something that works for everyone, people usually show appreciation. So that's really cool. You guys have something special out there.
Yeah, my coach says we're a team of misfits, so it worked
out. There you go.
And so listen, so you have a fight coming up, and you know, it's interesting. You've got these kind of last minute situations. It kind of tells a story, because when you're on The Ultimate Fighter, there's this whole last minute situation, and all of a sudden you're in a fight there with Hector, not Hector. It was Hector Urbina.
Andre.
Gilbert. Hector was his brother. Sorry. But you know, so it's like last minute things, and who's this guy? And all of a sudden you're here. And so you seem to have a knack for finding yourself in positions to take advantage of a situation. So after that, though, you were that kind of gave you the entree into getting in here and fighting. But how long had you been pursuing, you know, trying to get into the UFC in general? How long has that been a goal?
Well, I've been fighting for 10 years, and honestly, when I first started fighting, I thought it was unattainable. It wasn't anything, you know. Everybody's when they start fighting, that's their goal is the UFC. But when I started fighting, I just wasn't done competing. I played college football, and that was all done. And so I was just looking for something to compete in, and I didn't even know if I was going to be a pro fighter or if I was good enough to be a pro fighter. But when the very first time where I thought I can make a push for this was my teammate Duquan Townsend. He got a call on like a Wednesday to fight on Saturday. And so
was that in Niagara Falls? Because I think I was at that one.
Yeah. Oh, well, this was in
Minnesota, but I think I worked that show.
Yeah. And so we, me and one of the corners who's going to be in my corner, also Mo Williams, because the UFC only flies one corner out, but we that night we got it packed up and drove to Minnesota because we knew we had to meet him there to help him with his weight cut. And during that week and meeting everybody, but the moment we walked out with him, not fighting, the chills that I got, seeing the crowd and all that, and I was just like, oh man, I need to see if I can make this a reality. And so each of Duquan's fights, he brought me along and made the connections with UFC staff, who is, you guys can attest to, is fantastic. to us fighters specifically. I don't know how they are without us, but it's second
they're
to
great.
none, in my
It's great.
opinion. But they that was the first time that I had realized that I would like to make a push, because at that point, and my pro career started off pretty rocky. It was win one, lose one, and I was 3-3, and then I found myself on a 3-fight win streak, thinking Daquan got into the UFC, and then Chaos Williams got into the UFC. And I was like, okay, stuff good is happening. Devin Smith was on the Contender Series, and I was like, man, there's a lot of big stuff happening with our team. Let's see if I can ride this momentum. And I saw an advertisement for the Ultimate Fighter, and it was at 185, and I fight at 170. But I was like, I'm gonna just see if I can get in there and give this a shot. And I was an alternate, so that was kind of disappointing, but I was fortunate enough to make the right decisions and stay in Vegas and get on the show. Was last minute, not the most ideal situation, but it led to where I'm at now.
Yeah. Nice. And was he fighting, did he fight Menafield at that fight in Minnesota?
No,
like Daquan versus
the one in Minnesota was Dolce.
Dolce Langumbiana. Yeah. I do remember that one. Langumbiana. That was maybe I got it right. That was one that we always that always was kind of tough for me to say on the air. There are a couple of tricky ones. Okay, so if you came from football, what did you like? What part of the fight game did you first fall in love with? Then, what do you feel like you're the best at? What's your favorite part of fighting?
Well, when I first started fighting, the background that I had was middle school and high school wrestling, and then just football tackling. That's about it. I had no striking, nothing like that. But fortunately, the gym that I found myself at was just strikers. Every day was practice was striking, and so I was able to evolve that game rather quickly, because that's basically all that we did. Probably should have focused some more on the jiu-jitsu, which we are doing now. Now that we've expanded and we've got a dedicated jiu-jitsu coach came on recently, and we're at a wrestling gym. Nick Simmons is an Olympic caliber wrestler, and so he's got an academy in Michigan that we're out of, and so we get pretty more well-rounded now than where we're at. But it wasn't even fighting that I liked. It wasn't, some people get into it because they really like to hurt people or they just want to fight. I just wanted to compete, and there was nothing else that you can compete in after college was done if you're not a professional. So it was something I found myself doing. And what got me into even considering it was when I was recovering from a knee injury from football. I watched Dominic Cruz fight in Columbus, Ohio for the WEC belt. And I went to high school with him. It was a crazy thing that kind of got me into watching it. And that was my very first time ever seeing MMA. I didn't watch it on TV, never watched it. We all thought he was crazy when he coached our wrestling team, because he's 1 year ahead of me. So he coached our wrestling team my senior year, and we knew that he was doing, I think it was like King of the Cage at the time or something. And we're like, what is this that you're doing? And nobody paid much attention to it. And we were the fools, I guess.
What year was that? Do you remember?
That he fought?
That he was coaching your wrestling
2005.
team.
I graduated 2005.
Wow, that's so crazy. I always think, well, I'd like to hear more about like high school Dominic, actually, because
I know. Me too.
I know the version of him now pretty well, but I can't imagine him as like an awkward teenager.
I think that's probably the best way to describe him, because we went to the same church and we wrestled on the same team, but he wasn't a big jock. He wasn't out flashy. He was just kind of a guy that was there, super helpful, fantastic wrestler, great coach with all that when he's in the wrestling room, one of the hardest workers. I believe at his senior year, he really jacked up his ankle and still plays that state wrestling. And so I think without that injury, he's a state champion. But outside of him coaching and being the hardest worker in the room, you didn't really even see him at school. I guess you wouldn't even know that he was there. And him being 1 year older than me, we didn't have a lot of the same classes anyways. And
Wow.
I played football and he didn't, so it was mostly I was with the football guys, and wrestling and track was everything to be better at football. It was
So if he wasn't coaching your wrestling team, you probably would have been holding his ankles over a toilet, giving him some.
No, I never did any of that.
Okay, cool.
No, he would have probably kicked my butt then, I think.
Yeah, he's definitely scrappy. I feel like he's always been scrappy even before he knew how to throw a punch. So yeah, that's really interesting. So you've always been surrounded by these just a few degrees of separation from MMA fighters. So once you started taking it more seriously, did the opportunity kind of fall in your lap? Like you just got a bunch of finishes and then you got the call finally? How'd that happen?
Well, I was fortunate enough to get on the 3-fight win streak, and so was able to improve my record that way. I had a pretty big fight that was on UFC Fight Pass right after, and I think, Karyn, I took a picture with you in North Carolina, one of Dominic Cruz's, or not, we were just talking about him, Daquan's fights. Was, I think, one of the first time I was able to meet you. Was in North Carolina, and that was so that was a Saturday. My fight was on Wednesday, which was a weird day, but that's when they had it for a Fight Pass, and so it was a pretty decent big fight for me. And then one of my teammates' managers, Jason House, had actually sent me the application for the Ultimate Fighter because I couldn't find it anywhere. It was not online. The one I found online was for like 9 seasons ago. And I was like, couldn't find it anywhere. So he sent it to me, and I sent it in. And I don't know if him turning it in for me gave it some credibility with the producers or how that worked out. I know that they told me that I did interview well with them. It was a unique season because there was no tryouts in person like they had. So I didn't get the opportunity to get any face-to-face time with them.
Yeah, that was right. Was that because of COVID? Like that was right before everything got shut down, I think. Right?
Yes. Yep. And I don't know the roles that if anybody in the UFC, but I reached out to Dominic because he had coached on the show. And then Heidi with the UFC, a fantastic woman. I reached out
That's
to
my
her.
road dog. You don't have to tell me about Heidi Dean. That is my road dog.
Yeah.
And just so you know, I fought on that same card too. So that the card
I do remember
in North Carolina, I fought on the same one with Daquan, and somebody asked in the comments if I've ever gotten a KO. It wasn't a KO, it was a TKO. But
was that Loma?
It counts. That was Hannah Cyphers.
Hannah. Oh, right, because she's from North Carolina, right? You beat the home girl. That's right.
I beat the home girl, and then I danced for them, and they still booed me. But
no, I remember in the elevator there, you had your hair out, and I was like, I didn't know that you had your hair was that big.
Oh, the afro. I had the
and I remember talking with you about that in the elevator for like 5 seconds.
Okay. I feel like I remember that. I feel like it was a lot going on that week, but
that
sounds familiar. That's so funny.
When you're welcomed behind the scenes, at least from that aspect, and I'm just there as a corner, I try to leave the fighters alone. I mean, that's now now I understand it as well. It's a space where fans really aren't at, so you try to like pull that in a little bit, not fanboy too much, but when you first get there and you first see all that, you're like, oh, that's Angela Hill.
But like the fact that you're a fighter gives you a pass, like you can bug another fighter a lot to the point where like they're not going to get frustrated because you're a fighter and because you've gone through the whole process of cutting weight and showing up and getting locked in a cage and fighting someone for money. So you have the floor. You're able to do more than what the regular fan can do.
Yeah, it's still that was just the second time I got to experience the UFC level stuff. So I was still trying to figure out what my role was and just not bother people and kind of but still meet people. Bruce Buffer was one of the nicest people. That was unexpected too, but I guess everybody that I met, I guess that was the most surprising thing.
Everybody's cool. Like
how did you expect him to be?
Although
did
I
you-
think that one, well, I think a little bit more standoffish. I thought, like, because it's a behind the scene things, and you know, you have your fans, and you're nice and you're respectful because they make us have a job at this point because they're interested in us. But behind the scenes, when you're cutting weight, maybe you don't want to be left alone. I'm more quiet. I'm never rude to anybody, but I don't like to talk too much when I'm cutting weight. I'm just kind of to myself. So I wanted to be respectful of those things. So I just was kind of learning the ropes, but everybody was great, smiling most of the time, you know, and then so it was awesome experience. Although that was at the bar after the fights. I think some guy was talking trash to Mike Bisping, and I was like, it's like just a local guy that was at the hotel bar, and I was like, I don't know if that's what you need to.
It's not gonna end well.
I feel like
Not
that
the guy
happens a lot to Mike, though. Like for some reason, people feel like it's okay to talk shit to Michael Bisping. I don't know why.
They are crazy. They have screws loose if that's the guy they pick.
Everybody does. I know. It's really not smart. Hey, so your fight with Ibrahimaj, right?
Yes.
I got to make sure I say that name right. I'll be working that this weekend. Yeah. So what are you expecting? What kind of fight are you expecting? What kind of fight are you hoping to give? Since it's all about what you're going to do, Michael, not about what the other guy's going to do.
Well, my coaches are still watching film on that because it's on him because it's a last minute change. But something for this camp that we focused on a lot is me because my entire fight career, and I think it comes from football, is the amount of film that I watch on my opponents. And when I'm cornering people, the same thing is just film. And that's what we do in football. I think we spent more time in college watching film than we did practicing. So this camp has been significantly less film and more about my offense and the things that I'm going to do. So that part is at this moment, it seems I feel like a little bit less prepared because of the lack of film, but my offense and my cardio has gone through the roof just with me being the focus on those things. And I've implemented a few different techniques into my game just because I've actually had a full camp. It's a last minute opponent change, but because this camp was more so focused on me, the opponent change shouldn't make much of a difference in game plan. And they are two different fighters, Johnny Parsons and Ramiz. I'll go with his first name. Yeah, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I would butcher it. But with Johnny Parsons being more of a stand-up Muay Thai guy, and Ramiz getting his wins by submissions. You know, he seems to be where the ground is going to be a little bit more dangerous for me in this particular matchup. But the game plan wasn't to go to the ground anyways. So I think my game plan with my offense and focusing on the things that I want to do, there's no change. The goal is the same, just the body's different.
Nice. You have a lot of knockouts on your record. Do you consider yourself a bit of a knockout artist? I know a lot of that seems to happen a lot with wrestlers who turn into MMA fighters. They ended up not just taking people down, but knocking everyone out. And it's a really weird coincidence. But how do you describe your fight style?
Definitely, I would say freestyle, and my coaches tell me that I've got power. My coach Joaquin tells me manos de piedra, which means hands of stone. He tells me that in practice. Nice. And so I think it's something that's just transferred from being an athlete my entire life, not even wrestling, but just football and being able to control my body and move with power. But the knockouts that I have had are punches that I feel like they miss. And I don't know if you've experienced that in a knockout where you hit somebody so clean that it just shuts their lights off or drops them. And so I never go out trying to knock somebody out. Because I learned early on when that happens, not only does your cardio, tank drop immediately, it just doesn't happen. You're loaded up on your shots. So trying to stay more fluid and be more accurate than strong, I think, is how I've been able to get those knockouts or TKOs. And then trusting my coaches, I guess there's combinations that I throw that right before I throw them, I'm like, this is not going to work. But I've been coaching long enough too, and cornering long enough that they're seeing something that I'm clearly not. I'm too close to it. So just throw what they call and trust it. And more times than not, it's worked out.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
we'll
Which is
see
a
you
weird
in
thing.
action.
Again, I don't know if Angela, if you've experienced this, but you hear a combination that your coach calls and you're like, I don't know.
No, for sure. It's like every time I listen to my corner, I'm like, that shit ain't gonna work. And I'm like, let me just throw it so they stop calling for it. And then the person drops, and I'm like,
they knew what they were doing.
Hey.
Yeah, my coach, Coach Joaquin, all the time, he goes, that shit doesn't work, but just in case it does.
Right.
Yeah.
Just in case it does. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's very
Exactly.
cool. And we will see you in action just in a couple of days. And so hopefully you can utilize all those things. But yeah, like you said, you have a great perspective on how everything works here. So you should have a certain amount of comfort when you're walking in. The Apex is like everybody's house now.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like people feel comfortable fighting there. So yeah, we're definitely expecting a good one for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, for your time. I appreciate you having me on your show. Big fans of both of you. And
cool.
I will see you guys this week.
All right, Mike.
Can't wait to watch you scrap, man. Have a good week.
Thanks. You guys do the same.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. I mean, what they call him the Gentleman Gilmore for like that's why the reason his nickname is the Gentleman Gilmore.
Yeah, he's such a gentle little guy. I feel like bad cussing in front of him because he's so polite. And
I know. Well, the giveaway should be whenever somebody says that they met somebody or like they go to the same church or whatever, you should remember there, Ange, that like, okay, this is probably going to be somebody that, maybe you want to mind your P's and Q's by a little bit. He sounded more like a gentleman there. Yeah.
But the full sentence was, I went to the same church as Dominic Cruz. So
you're funny.
Sorry if I wasn't taken aback by my
Dom's a thug. No,
I'm like,
that's
you're
funny.
lying. No,
that's funny. But yeah, no, it's interesting because he saw a lot from being around the fighters and then just like a lot of wild situations already. So yeah, he's probably ready for anything.
Yeah, man. And coming in, he doesn't have that much fight experience, but he has a lot of like cornering experience and coaching experience. That shit's gonna like put him ahead of the pack because having that separate perspective is just like what he was talking about when you're in the fight and your corner's calling for something and you're like, you're like, that's not gonna work. Him knowing that he's been in the corner and he's called for stuff that the fighter didn't do, and he knew if they just did it, if they just trusted him, then that it would have worked. He has that perspective, so he can look back on that and say, okay, I'll throw the head kick, and then it lands, and he'll be like, yay, I won the fight, So just being able to see the different perspectives, being super respectful to the staff too, that takes you a long way. I feel
definitely does.
I feel like I would have been cut like 3 or 4 times if I was a dick, but the fact that I'm actually nice to the people who work with me and who like work for the UFC, it goes a long way, like you got to treat everybody the way you want to be treated. And he definitely is a very I don't know. I really like the fact that he looked at tape for Buckley, even though they were just throwing him out of nowhere. Like little things like that tell me that someone cares, like someone's a good person and they actually give a fuck about what they're doing and the responsibility that's being put on them to corner someone in this dangerous environment. So really cool guy. I'm glad we added him. I'm glad you added him last minute. It was nice to pick his brain.
Exactly. Yeah, because he sent a message since he had, seen Joaquin on, and he had just sent a message saying, oh, I'd love to be on sometime like Joaquin was. And then you were like, oh yeah, could we get him in today? And I was like, actually maybe we can. So
perfect.
I just sent in that message. And on the one hand, I said, oh, well, because he said he was out golfing. And I said, okay, well, don't hurry up and don't whatever. And if it doesn't work, it's okay, because we'll have we'll have you on another time when we can promote it more or whatever. But still, when we shared this now, we'll know, add on that he was a guest here as well. So it's cool.
I think he wanted a little bit of that luck. Everyone had from yesterday. Everyone was killing it. And then I also interviewed Jim Miller on Sirius Fight Nation, and he also got the win. And dude, like, To see
Dude.
someone like Jim Miller, who's like been through all the ups and downs of a UFC career, fought on 100, 200, and is looking to fight on UFC 300. Like, to see him go on a 2-fight win streak via knockout, that's insane. That just gives me so much pep in my step and so much like hope for my future. I'm like, look at Jim Miller doing his thing. So that was really cool to see as well.
It's cool. Yeah, I was working the night he had his last one, and that was the whole thing. He comes in and we're all like, dude, when did you turn into a knockout artist? You know, and now look at putting it together again. And then afterwards, didn't he even say, he's like, oh, I think it was maybe kind of even a little bit of a late stoppage type thing. Like, he didn't want to hit the guy too much, but it is incredible.
Okay?
That the old timers still got something. You know what I mean? It's that old man strength now, right? Maybe that's what it is. Now it's the old man strength.
Yes, my old lady strength is through the charts right now. Let me just tell you, like every time I fight someone a lot younger, I can like tell the difference. So it's definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing. And at this point, because I haven't had the longest career, but I've had maybe the most fights now. I
think you have in the division.
In my division. So just
isn't it like 20? Because
it's 20 now. So I'm getting ready for my 21st one in May. And just experiencing doing the walk that many times, experiencing being in the cage that many times, and hearing your corner, and going through fight camps, and knowing what works for you, what diets work for you, what cardio sets work for you, what makes you feel like shit, what makes you feel great. Knowing all that going in, you definitely feel like you have an advantage over someone who's just starting out, someone who only has 5 fights in the UFC, 10 fights in the UFC. Like, you have an advantage over them. You know all the variables of what could go wrong, what could go right. You know how to take advantage of their mistakes a lot better than you would have known maybe 5 fights ago. So it really is a fun thing to watch these veterans, now that the sport is getting a little better with just with how smart people are training. It's really nice to see these veterans still being durable in their, after fighting a million times. I think for him that was his 50th fight, Jim Miller, and his brain is still good. He's not chinny, he's not getting dropped every punch. Like, he's good, and it's just really cool to see.
And he recovered from a really bad Lyme disease and all that. Like Jim, he's been through it. So he's inspiring, and such a nice guy. And it's cool when you see that they still got it.
Still got it. Whipping these young boys. And you don't feel bad about it when they're young, because you're like, no bounce back. Fuck off. You're like,
exactly.
You got so many years ahead of you.
Yeah. Your lesson for the day.
Exactly.
Well, cool. Well, hey, speaking of veterans and people fighting, we're gonna have Kevin Lee on Tuesday night festivities. Hanato and I are gonna talk to Kevin, because Kevin is over in Eagle FC now, Khabib's thing, and he's gonna be fighting Diego Sanchez. Yes.
Okay, so I'm definitely watching that.
We'll have Kevin on, and like I said, I just spoke to Gay Guard, my good buddy. We spoke yesterday, so that's like a nice like a half hour or so, just like kicking it with my homie, like we've known each other forever. So he has a lot to talk about. He's fighting Paige's husband, Austin Vanderford. He's defending against him on Friday night. So,
Mr. Cage.
Mr. Van Zant. He's fighting Mr. Van Zant on Friday. Yeah. So
that's like one of those nightmare matchups, because he's actually a really good fighter. So I
know.
So it's like nobody wants to lose to Mr. Van Zant. That alone. Nice guy. But that alone is just like, I don't know. It makes you go in there with your guard up a little bit. I feel like it can make things weird. Yeah, it's like when anyone has a gimmick and you're like, there's no way that gimmick's gonna work on me, and then you go in there and you're like, damn, this gimmick is really good. I can't.
Well, that's why the Tyrant thing hurts so much.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it's like, oh shit, this guy's actually pretty big and he's pretty good at boxing.
That hurt a lot. Well, yeah, I will say, gay as much as Austin may be, I know what you're saying, but he has been in the lead up anyway. It seems quite respectful of knowing how good Gegard is and what a feather in his cap it'll be if he can beat Gegard, to somebody that good. And so, but yeah, we talked a lot about like. He said he would love to fight Anderson Silva at some point in boxing, though, just in straight boxing. But Gegard,
nice.
we talked for a while about like, because it's not so much that he misses being in the UFC, but we were just sort of talking about fights that could have happened, and he was like, "Yeah, I would have liked to fight Israel Adesanya," and I'm like, "Oh God, that would have been incredible!" Like, come on. The best ground and pound against the style bender like that would have been.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of the fighters.
They messed up with him. They did mess up with Gegard. Come on.
Yeah, that could have
big time.
Like kept things interesting. Like they let go a lot of good fighters like that.
Yeah.
One that I always go back to is Lorenz Larkin. Like that was
he's good.
That was a fighter that I was really excited to see fight again, and then I found out he was cut.
Yeah.
Or not cut, but just his contract didn't get re-signed or whatever.
Right.
And
I think I just saw that like Curtis. I think Curtis Melender. I think he went over to boxing.
I like him.
I think I saw him post something. Yeah, I think I saw a post to him, and it looked like he had just won a boxing fight. So there is life after the UFC. There definitely is.
Yeah, for sure.
There definitely is. So Gegard is in action on Friday night, but you can check that interview out. And Angie and I don't even. I thought of it today again, and then I forgot. We are doofuses because this is episode 53, which means 52. A whole year's worth of shows went by, and we didn't mark the occasion. Because remember we were talking about like our anniversary and all this stuff, and then I realized the other day I was like, I think our anniversary passed, and we didn't mark it.
Hey, that means that it's not work for us. We're actually having a good time doing this thing. That's good. I actually forgot, both me and my husband forgot our anniversary this year.
You did?
Yeah. It was funny because Adam's mom hit him up and he was like, "Hey, did you enjoy your anniversary?" And he's like, "Shut up." Oh shit.
Oh my God. What day is it?
He forgot it. It's January 2nd. So it's kind of a lame anniversary date.
But how do you forget that? Like you just
know.
That seems like it'd be hard to forget.
Well, I forget what was going on, but there's a lot going on. Like I feel like we were, you know what? We retired from like fight camp because I just fought December 18th. And then we were just focused on relaxing and enjoying the holidays. And I don't know, I guess the anniversary seemed like a chore for both of us because we both forgot.
Funny.
But also like COVID times too. Usually we'll go out to eat or something nice for our anniversary, and COVID just kind of ruined that for a lot of people. But we did make it up on my birthday. We went and had a fancy dinner because we're like, okay, we're gonna keep the marriage alive.
Yes. And how long have you been married?
Fuck, like I think it's 13. I'm pretty sure it's 13.
Good
I keep forgetting. But yeah, 13 years now. So we've been married since we were children chilling. Yeah.
Cheering. Well, it's cool. I think it's nice. People are seeing some comments here. People enjoy the Hanato stuff. He is a very funny guy. He does get a little graphic, Queen Boudica. Yes, he gets a little graphic sometimes where I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, we can't talk about that.
Reel it back.
I'm not gonna talk about that, dude. But he is hilarious. He really does crack me up. And Kevin is a good dude. So I like Kevin Lee. I know he's one of these guys that's embattled, and some people really use him as a scapegoat, or like some people just take issue with him. But I've always liked Kevin. I've always gotten along with him. I always thought he was a nice kid. So,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, so
you know why.
Anyway.
We're not gonna talk about it.
Yeah, so listen, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification so you don't miss out. We do this every Sunday night at 8:00 Eastern, 5 Pacific. You can also find these as audio downloads, though. They are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. I'm working on putting season 2 also up over on the festivities.com website. So I'm going to be building that a page for us there as well. So when people are there, they can just kind of go and see. I don't know if I'm going to go back and do all 53, but I'll start with season 2. So at least the most recent ones.
You need an intern.
I know.
If anyone wants to intern for what had happened, was leave a comment below.
Oh, God.
There will be 0 pay, but
right.
Your contributions will be appreciated.
But yeah, so that'll be going on. But yeah, so you can, if you're, so please hit the subscribe button here. And over on Twitter, you're also could be seeing this live. So that's Karyn Bryant. You can check it out here. And over on Instagram, it's at KB Heat. And Instagram is where we start the festivities show, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific on Tuesday night. Then we bring it over to my YouTube channel at around 8:15 or so for the after party, and we just keep going. So Angie, you are working lots of jobs as well. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram. Now that my Instagram is back, I got hacked.
Hey, what happened? What happened to your Instagram?
My Facebook got hacked, and they were doing some weird stuff on my Facebook, and I never checked my Facebook. I just use it to I use my Instagram to post to Facebook. So sorry if you've been hitting me up and giving me love on Facebook. I don't check it. But my Facebook got hacked somehow. And then my IG was disabled and my Facebook was disabled because of whatever the hacker was doing on my Facebook. So apologies if anyone saw that or was, I don't know, hit up to buy a PlayStation or something, whatever these hackers do. But it's back. So thanks to people who helped me get it back. Thanks, Instagram. Cool.
Yeah, friend.
So I'm back.
Cool. And so where can they find you though? Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you can find me at Instagram at Angie Overkill, Twitter at Angie Overkill, Twitch at Angie Overkill. You can also find me on TikTok at Overkill Hill, on Facebook at Angela Hill MMA. Even though I'm not back in my Facebook yet, it's still like hacker things going on there. So stay off of my Facebook. But where can they find you, Karyn?
So at KB Heat on Insta and at Karyn Bryant everywhere else. Karyn. Bryant as in Kobe, no relation, but may he rest in peace. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much to Terence McKinney and to Michael Gilmore for joining us. It was really great to have 2 guests with us today. And thank you, obviously, all of the folks watching and commenting. We really appreciate it.
Yes, please like and subscribe and comment as much as possible. Get them algorithms showing the show.
Right.
So we can expose more people to it and build our little community here, because I like that. I like this show. I do too. I think this is the most fun show I do. So
cool. Nice. Yeah, we have a good time.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, people. Well, thanks so much for joining us. And we will see you on the next one.